Welcome back to the Weekend Sugar. On this week's episode, we are going to make copycat of Cinnabon's cinnamon rolls. This recipe is godsend because I love Cinnabon and they make the best cinnamon rolls ever. And with just the simple homemade ingredients, we can have a cupcake of their famous cinnamon rolls. It's the softest, it's the freshest, it's the most delicious cinnamon rolls next to Cinnabon that I've ever tasted. Seriously, guys, please watch until the end to find out how to make the cinnamon rolls. So these are all the ingredients that we are going to need. We need warm water, salt, active yeast, sugar, all-purpose flour, vegetable oil, buttermilk, and an egg. In a bowl of my stand mixer, I'm gonna dump in all of my warm water. And then I'm gonna add about a tablespoon of my sugar to that water, and I'm gonna dump all of my active yeast in that water. So what we're doing on this step is proofing our yeast. Basically, since I'm using active dry yeast, we need to proof it because we need to make sure that our yeast is alive so that our bread will rise. And you know that your yeast is good if it has become bubbly and frothy like this. So to my yeast, I'm gonna add in the rest of my sugar and also my salt. I'm gonna transfer this into my stand mixer and I'm gonna mix it at low speed. While that is mixing, I'm gonna prepare the rest of my wet mixture, and that is my egg, my vegetable oil, and my buttermilk. I'm gonna dump all of this into my stand mixer as well. The next thing that we need to do is to add our all-purpose flour. So what I'm actually going to do is not to just dump it all in there. First, I'm gonna add 2 cups of my flour into my stand mixer. So we really want to take this step slow and steady because we want to make sure that we're not adding too much flour into our dough mixture. So first, I dumped in about 2 cups of my flour. And once that's a bit more incorporated, we are going to add our flour in 1/4 cup increments. I used about 4 cups for my dough, but the amount of flour that you will use will depend on a lot of external factors, and one of them is the temperature or humidity in your kitchen. So since I live in a more tropical country and it's very hot in my kitchen, I only use about 4 cups of flour. But so basically you're just gonna eyeball it, and what you're looking for in your dough is that you want it to be elastic and very pliable. You want it to be very smooth, and it's sticky, but it doesn't really leave a dough. It doesn't stick to your fingers. I will show you how your dough should look like much later on. So once you see that your dough has cleaned up the sides of your stand mixer bowl, you can turn up the speed to medium to high speed. And for about 5 to 7 minutes of kneading, your dough will look like this. So it's very pliable. It doesn't stick to my fingers, but I can move it around and shape it into a ball very easily. So that is our dough. So now we need to let that rise until it has doubled in size. So I'm just going to put it in a clean bowl which I have oiled with just vegetable oil, and I'm gonna cover this with saran wrap, and I'm gonna let this rise in a warm place until it has doubled in size. While our dough is rising, I'm gonna make our cinnamon rolls filling, and that is basically just brown sugar, cinnamon, and the secret ingredient is our cornstarch. The cornstarch actually helps the filling to stay together and not ooze out of your rolls while they're baking. After about 30 minutes to 1 hour, my dough has risen and has doubled in size. Now it's time to flatten our dough to the right shape. I actually forgot what was the size that I have flattened my dough into, so I'm gonna leave the size and all the ingredients and the description on the description box below. So I have floured my surface, and lucky me, my surface is actually the exact same size that I want my dough to be flattened out to. Again, I'm gonna leave the size of the flattened dough on the description box below. So with my rolling pin, I'm just gonna flatten out my dough. Basically, what you want to do is to flatten it as thinly as you can. It's about half an inch. Since your dough is very elastic, very pliable, it doesn't take too much muscle strength to be able to do this step. If you have a smaller work table, then you can definitely divide your dough into two. Put back the other half into your bowl and cover it with your saran wrap, and then you can start working with the first half of your dough first. So the measurements will be much smaller. So you're gonna flatten out your dough into half the size of the original, and it will really just help you work on your flattening of your dough much better. So I have finally flattened out my dough to the right size and the right thickness that I want. Now we have to start on the filling. So first, I'm gonna lather all of my flattened dough with butter. You can also use margarine, but butter just gives us that really intense butter flavor that is very the same as the Cinnabon ones. So I'm lathering butter all over my flattened dough, except, very important, I'm not gonna lather butter on the top of my flattened dough, so I'm gonna leave about an inch of space uncovered by butter and also uncovered by my filling. So on this part, I just want to make sure that all spaces of my dough are drenched with that filling. And then with my hands or with a spatula, I'm just gonna flatten out that filling into the butter so that it sticks really, really well. Again, remember to leave about an inch of space uncovered by your filling. Once I'm done with this step, it's time to roll our dough and actually turn them into cinnamon rolls. So I'm gonna start at the very edge, and I'm just gonna fold up my dough. So I'm gonna keep doing this until I have rolled every inch of my flattened dough. And once you've reached the edge, you're just gonna lift that uncovered dough part and seal your rolls with it. So that's the reason why we're not covering it, so that we can seal our rolls properly. So each roll will be about 2 inches thick, so use a ruler so that every roll has the same size. And with a sharp knife, we're just gonna cut our rolls into each piece. I have prepared a baking pan and I put some parchment paper over it, and I'm gonna place our rolls to that pan. Make sure to leave at least 2 inches of space in between those rolls, because we are gonna let them rise again and it will definitely double in size. So this dough can make up to 16 large cinnamon rolls, but I only was able to make 14, because I cut them a little bit too thickly than what the original recipe has given. I'm gonna cover this with saran wrap again and let it rise in a warm, dry place. And once it's risen, it's gonna look like this. I baked my cinnamon rolls at 375 degrees Fahrenheit for about 20 to 25 minutes. And once they're done, they're gonna look like this. They haven't really browned because my oven doesn't really like to brown bread, but yours will definitely brown if you're using a different oven from mine. I also prepared cream cheese frosting, because this is what makes cinnamon rolls the best, their cream cheese frosting. So I prepared that, and the recipe will be on the description box down below as well. And I'm just gonna lather each roll with that really delicious cream cheese frosting. If you're gonna make cinnamon rolls, go all the way out and make cream cheese frosting as well. It just makes your cinnamon rolls 10 times better. By the way, once you bake these cinnamon rolls, your whole house will smell like a delicious bakery for a whole day. Guys, this footage right here is my real-time reaction to my first taste of these wonderful cinnamon rolls.
Oh my god, it's so soft! Look at how soft that is.
Yes guys, they were so soft, they were so good. That cream cheese frosting really ups the game of the cinnamon rolls. And what's even better is that they can keep at room temperature and they will still be soft for up to 2 to 3 days. So go ahead guys and make this wonderful cinnamon rolls. I'll leave all the ingredients on the description box down below. If you want to watch my previous video, please click on that picture. Don't forget to like and share and comment what you want to see next. And of course, please subscribe to my channel. Thank you very much. I'll see you next week. Bye.